In fact, this morning, I spoke to Joel, one of my clients. He had a very interesting situation. Recently, he found out that he had pancreatic cancer. And for those that don't know, pancreatic cancer is a very fast, invasive type of cancer that if you don't catch it early, things can go wrong pretty fast. The fact is, Joel went to talk to his oncologist who said, look, we know that you've got the markers for cancer. We need to have a PET scan done right away so that we can tell where the cancer has either spread or not spread throughout your body so we can initiate treatment right now. So I want you to hear Joel's story. I spoke with him this morning. He's doing well. He's responding to the treatment, which is great. But I want you to hear his story. Please pay attention to his story about 1 minute in when he talks about scheduling the PET scan, which is going to tell them where they need to start targeting for the cancer treatment.
I do have two quick things for you. First of all, I've seen some of your videos, and they're extremely informative and very clear-cut.
Thank you very
much.
I
wanted to thank you. I wasn't actually expecting that you were going to call me back, but I thought since I had the opportunity, I would let you know. The other thing is I wanted to tell you a little story. As part of all of this, they needed to schedule a PET scan for me. So I was actually in the hospital for surgery to correct the original issues that caused them to make this diagnosis. And as I was in the hospital being discharged, the oncologist spoke to me and said, well, we're going to need a PET scan, and we'll try and set that up as quickly as possible. It should take about 3, maybe 4 weeks to schedule that. And I said, wow, really, that long? And she goes, yeah, well, it's not really us. It's really the insurance company, because we have to get approval, and we have to go through a whole process, and we have people who do this all the time, so we know how to do it, but they're first going to suggest something else, and we have to come back with a counter, and so on and so forth. And I said, well, I just turned 65, I'm on Medicare, so maybe it won't take that long. And she kind of looked at me and said, well, yeah, it kind of really does still take that long. And I said, okay, so just to be clear, I'm not on Medicare Advantage, I'm on original Medicare with a supplemental plan. And she goes, oh, well, okay, in that case, I think we could probably schedule you a little faster. So it did get scheduled 4 business days later.
Wow.
So
thank God. You made some really good decisions.
You really can't ask for anything better than that. So, in terms of, I know the message that you're preaching about Advantage and versus original Medicare, my father-in-law is 91. He's on Medicare Advantage. He's hooked on the pre-premiums and the Uber picking him up and all this and that, and it's all great until you actually get sick.
Wow.
So I thought you'd appreciate that.
I really do. Thank you for telling me that.
There are 2 different kinds of ways that you can get Medicare insurance. You don't want to have original Medicare just by itself, because then you're left paying 20% of all the bills with no cap, with no limit. But with original Medicare, there are no hospital networks. You don't have to check a network. You don't have to call a doctor and say, do you take my Advantage plan? Matter of fact, we often have clients of ours on Medicare Supplement call us back and say, hey, I called my doctor and they don't take the Aetna Advantage plan, or they don't take the Aetna plan. And here's what happened. Our client called the doctor's office and said, do you take the Aetna plan, or are you part of the Aetna network? And so Aetna has 2 sides of the house. So does Cigna. So does Humana. They have Medicare Advantage, and then they have a Medicare Supplement. The Medicare Supplement plan is accepted everywhere that accepts original Medicare, which is just about everywhere. So if you call a doctor's office mentioning a name of a Medicare Supplement plan who also happens to have a Medicare Advantage in their query, they will assume that you're checking the network status of the Advantage side, because that's the only one that has a network. And in doing so, they may give you an answer that, no, if you had that Advantage plan, we would not be able to help you. As we just showed you, the client that we just listened to, Joel, went to the Cleveland Clinic. They're the best possible place to treat his type of cancer. And you can do that on a Medicare Supplement plan, because again, you have the freedom of original Medicare. No doctor network, no prior authorization required. Like in this case, we're talking aggressive cancer, and the imaging place, assuming he had a Medicare Advantage plan, said because of prior authorization, you can expect 3 to 4 weeks before you can get your image done, your PET scan. Can you imagine the difference? Oh, you're on original Medicare. Now we get you in immediately, right after the weekend. It was 4 days he was in there. That is literally the difference with an aggressive type cancer of life and death.